Hold on, we
Do I have to
gotta.
say that all again?
Yeah,
Should
you
I
Yes.
pretend like
Yes.
the first time?
No,
Go.
let's keep going. I'll keep going.
And
All right, so today we'll be talking about running Minecraft on an Amazon EC2 server. So who here likes Minecraft? Good, because I won't be talking a lot about it. All right, sorry. But I will be talking about all the things that I learned when I first learned how to spool up an Amazon server, how to SSH into that server, how to work with a headless Linux installation, and how to get it configured and do everything that I needed to do remotely. So I feel like I learned a lot about it, just trying to get Minecraft running for my son to be able to play on it. And so I wanted to share some of that knowledge with you. And I play on it more than he does. So here is my Amazon Web Services Management Console. You can get 1 year of free services available from Amazon Web Services. They call it their free tier. And you can run a bunch of different stuff. You give them your credit card, and as long as you don't go over the threshold that they give you, you can get a bunch of different stuff for free, and most of it I don't even know how to work. But one of the things that I did figure out how to use is the Amazon EC2, which allows you to run Windows and Linux servers in the cloud in Amazon. So the cool thing about this is that you can host it out on Amazon's website, and you can access it remotely, but you don't have to have it running on your home computer, and I didn't want to open up any ports into my network for Minecraft, so I hosted it out on Amazon, and if it gets hacked, I blow the whole server away and set up a new one. So I'm just going to go through it live with you guys right now, and hopefully it all works as well as I expect it to. So here we're at the EC2 dashboard, and the EC2 is for the servers. I'm going to click on instances, and I already have one Minecraft server running and one Minecraft server stopped. And we're going to go up here to launch a new instance.
What's EC2 stand for?
I don't know. Elastic computing, yeah.
Elastic
Cloud.
Compute Cloud.
Compute
Hence
cloud.
the 2 Cs.
Cloud computing.
So there are a bunch of different distros available. Let's see if
You got
Samurai's on here.
It's not.
You sure?
But
Yes.
You turned it off.
there is
That's
there
what we
is
know
a
it's
Kali
done.
instance. There are Debian instances. There are Windows servers. There are all sorts of different images that you can choose from. But we are going to
You have
You have
to pay
text
for a
in search
license
box.
for the
use
Windows?
Linux. No, you don't. So for the Windows servers, they don't charge you licenses unless you spool up something with like Office.
It's included. The cost of the Windows license is included in your hourly compute fee.
So the Linux users are paying for a Windows license?
No, the Windows prices are different.
They are.
They're more per hour.
Oh, okay.
But what we're going to work with here is right here we've got a free tier eligible, and I'm broke, so that's all I'm going to go with. So I've got the Amazon Linux AMI right here.
What distro is Amazon Linux based on?
It's based on Red Hat. So it's a Red Hat style Linux.
So IBM owns it now, got it.
So if you know Cent, then you know AMI.
Okay.
Yes, CentOS, AMI, and Red Hat are all cut from the same cloth.
Go back real quick. Sorry.
Seem to be
Take care of this
IBM
later.
Linux.
If you, oh god, you went too far back.
Too far. I use the actual back
So
button.
in this quick start, these are all the ones that are like officially supported, if you will. And there's a whole bunch of them that are free to eligible, including there's your Ubuntu server. So if you would prefer Ubuntu or Debian based, that's still free to eligible. Everything that he's going to say will apply. It's just that language.
Yep.
And there is a free tier for Windows if you hop up a little more.
There's Windows.
There's Windows containers, but if you go up a little bit, there's the normal
Did I
Windows.
miss it already?
Yeah, you did. It was right
2016.
there.
Yep. And that's also free tier eligible.
Right.
And so you can run 750 hours a month, which is actually a little bit more hours than there is in a month. So you can run one server the whole month straight through. Or you can run two if you turn them on and off.
And Amazon charges per minute, a certain cents per minute. They usually discuss it in a per hour rate,
Yep.
but it's almost per millisecond, I think, at this point.
Yeah, the only warning I will give you is that if you are free tier eligible and you go over the free tier, they will charge you.
Yeah.
So
Immediately.
just be ready for that and pay attention to your bill.
I made a mistake of, I followed an ad for a free tier or something.
Mhm.
I did like sale, and apparently I did a 32 gigabyte
Yep.
That's the instance instead of like the 512K and I got billed for $138.
So,
And I want to laugh, my company actually does the phone sales for that, so
Yeah.
we are constantly having to tell, like, I actually sit
Tell
next to
people.
them, and I hear them all the time going, yes, that one was not free.
Not
There
free.
is a free one, but you needed to
And
not do the
one other
free.
example I have is that I spooled up the Windows server, and the Windows server is free. The Active Directory that goes with the Windows server is not free.
And
And there's a
also-
checkbox that you can lock yourself into free tier only if you want to be safe.
Oh,
where's that?
really?
Lower.
Oh, well, I think that just selects free tier only.
No, it hides everything that's not free tier.
And
Yeah, it's
also,
right there on the
left. Right,
It allows you to.
To your left,
Yeah.
there you
Just
go. free
also before we move on, if you stop an instance, you still get billed.
Right,
Until
so-
you delete the instance.
Because you're still being billed because you're still using
EBS.
resources, like they're
Yeah.
still allocating resources to you and they're using them, and you're of course using on-disk storage.
But you are being billed less
Mm.
than if the instance was running.
Yeah, I think you're only being billed for the
Well, I got
storage.
I
EBS.
used it for like 2
Yeah.
hours and I gave up on whatever I was trying to do and still got billed for $138.
Okay.
Hey,
So,
so I will give credit to Amazon credit. They're pretty vocal about the free. I mean, obviously, you can easily not do it. You can easily use more than your 20 gigs of storage. You can easily use more than your 4 gigs or 5 gigs of download or upload. It's upload. Download's free, but
So are you in a situation where like a DOS tech could cost you a lot of money?
yeah. Holy shit, yes.
Huh?
Remember, it's only they don't charge from the cloud, from the internet to your instance. It's data that comes from your instance and back.
However,
Is
so
what's
if they can
built.
elicit a response from your system.
Right.
Yeah.
But-
And also they can CPU DDoS you as well.
Yes, but Amazon is amazingly responsive. If you are hit with something and you're dumb enough not to set up billing alerts,
yes. Mine's
they
at 1
will
penny.
forgive huge bills easily.
Okay, so it
Now
kind of
if-
stops the abuse there.
Every month you have a huge bill, there's a certain point where they're just gonna be like, okay, dude,
Yeah.
screw you, hit
You're
me.
full of it.
Right, but they, I know a number of people who have been hit by various things. The one thing that that is not easily forgiven is if you expose, I'm sorry man, we just kinda hijacked your,
Yeah.
No, it's all right.
your substitute presentation.
Yeah.
Welcome to our normal
So,
thing.
the thing that they will not forgive very easily is if you allow your credentials to be compromised in some way, and I can give you a list, and
Of
somebody,
credentials?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I can give you yours. If your credentials are compromised and a person spins up EC2 instances, they will not forgive that cost very easily, because
They use resources.
it's not because everything uses resources, but it's
Your
more of your credentials got compromised. So that's on you,
Yeah.
right? Especially since AWS hardcore recommends multi-factor authentication, hardcore recommends protecting keys. If you you've got a weak password, whatever. So if they spin up 4,000 EC2 instances, which I know a person that happened to,
You're gonna pay for it.
you are going to pay for that until you can prove to them that it wasn't
Yep.
you. They will forgive it, but it's a lot more
It's a lot more
effort to
hoops.
show, right? Especially since, like in the case of this example, there was only I think one instance running.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it'd be easier for him to prove the 200 instances that were spun up last week.
All of a sudden, they
Are
were all
not
T2
behind.
larges,
Right.
and I've only ever started T2 micro.
Right, but if you look at
Does make
my
sense
collection of accounts,
Slip one in there.
you could probably spin up 100 instances without Amazon or me really noticing, because we spin up 100 instances automatically.
Yeah.
Right, our phishing tool set actually spins up instances and kills them as part of its processing,
Yeah.
and so it would be much harder for me to prove. But I also, not claiming I'm secure, but claiming I have locked the shit out of this thing to make
Yeah.
sure.
Especially just the web console, especially.
We
So
don't
the
use-
login
yeah.
before I got to this point, that's the real key part to keeping your Amazon locked down.
And I will say, if you're wondering why Amazon's king in this space, they are.
through API or through CLI?
So we use both the API and the CLI, Very rarely will you see any of my consultants log into the web console. Well, there's a couple that there, and I can't think of them off the top of my head, so let's just assume I'm right. And but there are a couple things that the web console is actually the easier way to do it. And I'm a lazy idiot, so we use the CLI almost exclusively. We have a few things that are done API. Almost our entire infrastructure that is public facing minus email, because email is Google, is serverless in AWS. Our website is static, hosted in S3, back-ended by an API gateway that calls a series of lambdas to do any processing. And they totally, we've run over Route 53 for DNS. We literally have one, for our public-facing stuff, we have one actual EC2 instance, and that's Knos, and it runs our blog. And that is because currently we are still running WordPress. And
What? Sorry.
yeah, we use WordPress. I love WordPress.
Most
And-
people
Just gotta keep it
run
updated.
WordPress,
What's
but,
that thing?
yeah,
So-
patched.
But
No, I'm
but let's
surprised.
So that's kind of the advanced side. When you really get to it,
sorry.
you know, if you want, you'll have to talk next month about how to make a company on Amazon.
Yeah, I'm
all
cool
right.
with that.
But today is going to be Minecraft on Amazon.
Yeah.
And I got to get this started because it'll take a minute to spool up.
No problem.
So we're going to go next. We're going to do one instance. We are going to leave most of this default, except for unlimited. It's going to it's going to increase the power as you require it, but that is additional charges. And I'm going to use a new volume for this. Oh, my font is terrible. Hold on.
So while he's doing
I have the
that,
same problem.
the way CPU works in this tier, where it says the T2 instances, you get a % of a single core of a 2.5 gigahertz Intel CPU. So the T2 Micro, yeah, there's Nano and Micro. Micro is one that's free, sure, which is not the smallest.
Yep.
The Nano is the Micro is the one we're using for the free tier. You get 1 gig of RAM, and you get 1% of that CPU. And what it is, it's not, you can consider it like 15% of the CPU, but in reality what it is that you get enough CPU credits to fully consume the CPU for 15 minutes every hour. So if you're using less than 12 or 13%, I think is the exact percent, you earn credits. When you go above 12 or 13% of utilization, it starts to eat into those credits until those credits are zero. If you had checked the T2 Unlimited, if those credits reach zero, they start charging you a little bit.
Yeah.
They charge you like a half penny per credit, and to let you keep consuming more than your fair share, if you will, of the CPU. So every time you go to a different instance type of the T2, that gives you more of a 100% CPU time on that CPU. Eventually you'll get 2 cores, eventually everyone you get more RAM. Like the T2 small lets you average like at 40% CPU. If you average less than 40%, you earn credits, etc. So it's kind of a weird balance where it's really nice because when you install on the OS, you can burst that CPU and do everything you want, and then when it's 2 in the morning and no one's hitting your website, you're sitting there, you gain up to a certain like 150 credits, if you will. And then so then your system just sits there, with lots of credits, and allows you to again burst when your load gets up.
Because that's really how the traffic to a website usually goes. It's usually feast or famine.
And there's nice little charts and graphs and things that shows you when you're using it.
So here is a really important piece here. We are going to add a key. Where are my keys? Choose to add.
It's a tag.
These are the tags, okay. I don't need to add a tag. And we're going to add a security group here. So the security group is going to be a new security group, so we're going to call this one JaxLUG. And we have a description, so it's created by the wizard. And so here is where we can change all of our settings on what IP addresses can reach different services for your EC2. So right here we've got SSH, and we're going to have under TCP, we're going to have it on port 22, and a lot of people will change the port that it's on, so that helps a little bit because there's some scanners on the internet that are going to scan specifically for port 22. and then try to brute force that SSH password. And then we're going to, this is where it's coming from. So I highly recommend if you guys start up an EC2 at home, that you limit this to just your IP address to be able to SSH into that EC2. Because that's going to limit the millions of IP addresses on the internet down to just being able to come straight from you. I don't know what Kevin's IP address is, so I'm going to leave that for everyone, and then I'm going to blow this away after we're done talking
Although,
about it.
new thing, if you hit the source
Yes?
and you hit drop down and says my IP,
My IP.
it solves that for you. But don't do that because you might have more than one IP.
No, I only have one.
You only have the one?
That's boring.
But if you leave the
I am
zero,
boring.
yeah, if you leave the 0.0.0.0/0, it'll be from anywhere.
Don't do my IP if you're at home and you don't have a static IP.
But the nice thing is, because this is not a firewall inside the software layer of your VM, this is Amazon, you can go somewhere else, log into your Amazon account, and add a new rule.
We have a
Doesn't lock
really-
you out of your account forever.
We have a really cool bot in one of our Slack channels that you can ping it. Right. Wrong word, but go with it.
8.8.8.8.
It takes your current IP address that your client is and adds it to a firewall rule to a certain set of things.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah, it may or may not be for a private WoW server, but
See?
hypothetically.
Lots of things you can do with EC2.
Hypothetically.
Yeah.
So then we're going to add another port to be able to get to our Amazon. So the first one is to be able to control the server and SSH into the backend. The second one is going to be for Minecraft. Minecraft default server is what, 2.5?
I do
something
not
like that?
remember off the top of my head.
I'm just going to put in my zip code here, something high up there. So if you're not familiar with ports, 0 through 1000 are the registered ports. So those are all assigned specifically. Is that 1000 through?
1024.
1024
1K.
is going to be the assigned port, and then there's going to be the well-known ports, and then up above that all the way to 65525. 35? Yeah, 65535 is the maximum port. So if you're up in that space somewhere, then no services are going to try to compete with that. And Minecraft has its own well-known port. You can do a search, Shodan search for Minecraft servers on that port, which is why I don't use it, because Shodan's hitting that port looking for Minecraft
It
servers.
really bothers me that its default port is not a cube of a number.
That's
It
good.
really.
All right, and so once again, we're going to make this one available from anywhere. This is who can actually log into your Minecraft server,
Most aren't there
and we're going to
yet.
call this one Minecraft.
Amazon hasn't gotten there yet.
Yeah.
Those fonts are terrible, I can't even tell.
Yeah,
It's the
I
theme.
deal with this all the time. Is it the
It's the
theme?
theme.
That's
If
when
you
that's
change
when we
the
start
theme
getting
from
Make
into
it-
that
Yeah.
next level.
You change
you
it,
know.
I've had to deal with this too. If you change the theme
cube
from
rulers
dark
of 3.
to
That works.
anything else, because I love this theme. This is exactly the theme
Look
I
and
use.
feel,
Okay.
appearance.
And just do like something
No, that's when
else.
you start
There you
doing
go.
Oh, I see what you're doing. Okay.
All right,
Or
that
you
makes
could
better.
just do, 8
I don't
and
know.
it would be a cube
You would
and
think you could change it.
Have I
Or
missed
64.
downloading my key yet?
No.
Okay.
No, you haven't done it yet.
Well, you already have an instance, so it'll reuse your existing key.
Yeah, I want
Well,
to
it
use a
gives
new
you
one
the
because I don't
option.
want to pass my key over Kevin's network.
You're on the guest network, right?
Yeah.
We are not capturing anything on the guest network because you have not given us permission to do it.
Actually, I don't have that key on this computer.
Keep going, I think you can generate a new key afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah, on the review and launch.
Just generate, show them how to generate a key.
Yeah, that's what I want. That's what I'm trying to get to. I just want to make sure I didn't miss it.
So is
Isn't
this
that
when
on
we
the
start
security
talking
rules
about
somewhere?
Alexa and
No,
how you've
no.
dumbed it down, Kevin?
Configure security
No,
group is the
don't.
one right previous.
No, but it's
No,
not,
but
it's not
you
that.
took away some
Or
of
is
its
it?
functionality.
You just go back, once you
Turn
generate
off
it,
the sensitive.
So I launch it.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, somehow, there it
Oh,
goes.
there it is.
There you go.
Okay. So now we're going to generate a key. So passwords, when you're exposed to the internet, are very insecure and they're very easy to brute force. So if we generate a key, we're going to create a file that is, was it 256 characters long, and that is going to be our password to be able to SSH into our Minecraft server.
Are you gonna last pass it since I see the icon up there?
I might. No, I'm going to save it on the hard drive, of course. So we're going to call this the JaxLUG key. And we are going to download this key pair, and you only get one chance at this.
Yeah, Amazon isn't kidding when they say that they can't get you the key back.
No, they will
They're
not
also
give
not-
you the key back.
I'm also not kidding about how neurotically secure they want you to be. They
Yes.
could just let you hit, no, I want a password instead.
They do not let you do that.
You have to log in with the key and then enable password SSH authentication. But there is no way in their interface, even via API, I don't think,
I don't know of a way in the API to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't
it's
believe
not
you can.
possible.
So, and the key is
That
gonna
we
keep
know.
you more safe, and we're gonna review how to use the key when you're using your SSH. And we're gonna launch that instance. So this is gonna take a few minutes.
No,
So-
done.
It's now launching while it is a,
If you launch log, kind of cool. It'll like show you cloning. It goes to a disk image, clones it, etc. And now it's booted.
all right. So now we are going to go to our EC2. This is probably the long way. And we are going to go to our instances. And
Oh,
here is the instance that we are currently spooling up.
right click it. Click, what is it, instance settings? And then view, yeah, it's hidden a little bit, it's down at the bottom. It would be like view console or something like that.
Instance settings, view
It's
console.
down, yeah, it's down, it's like 3 down. I'm not sure how to get to it other than just right clicking it. Oh, actions, I'm sorry, actions at the top. Now that you selected actions, instance settings, and then,
It's this
oh, instant screenshot, there it is, now it's ready. Click.
Okay. What?
And that lets you see the local console of the VM. You're curious. You can't control that, of course, but that's what it looks like if you were connected to the VGA port of the instance.
I did not know that.
All of my servers have HDMI.
All right, so now we are going to, before we can get into this, we need to come in here and we need to get the IP address. So we're going to come down here and we've got our public DNS, and then we have our public IP address. So we're going to click here and we're going to go copy to clipboard. And then I'm going to come over here and I've kind of figured out how I think I want to do this.
Wow. This is like a Dan-like thing to do.
I know.
I know, right?
Oh, you just closed it.
Ready?
I don't know. No, we're asking.
Control Shift
Why did
E.
you do
All right, so here's our, here is our URL. So we're going to set our URL.
You like really prepared for this.
I know, I told you I did.
What I'm impressed with, all seriousness, no joke. The dude is a substitute presentation.
Right!
Right?
That's
Like,
what I'm impressed by, is that
Yes.
he's prepared for the
Well, here's
substitution.
the thing, Kevin.
Wait. I'm a paid speaker. There are companies that fly me around the country and pay me money to speak, and I'm not this prepared.
No, you're not.
Go back to real quick.
Three
You actually
presentations
put
always
where
ready
the
to go.
file is. You named
Presentation.
it correctly
I'm not.
ahead of
No, I
time.
am this prepared.
I don't
You're
mind
nuts.
being this
Whole
prepared,
floor is
but
here.
that's assuming I was actually the speaker.
No,
This is
I-
like,
I-
I'm
no,
winging
and I
it,
didn't
and I'm
plan.
not prepared.
No,
The name
Yeah,
of the
no,
I'll stand
file
up and present.
and where it's going to be hours ago.
I'm this prepared.
And I didn't
Is
make a
that links?
Minecraft server
No.
earlier, I just did this from memory that I was going to do all this stuff.
Is that link
Good.
gonna be
Yeah.
still valid, or is that one of those?
It's actually just a
there's one
history
video
file,
link, yeah.
This is
No,
history file.
that's the
bash
hard
history
drive.
file for a bit.
He obviously tried this. I think Minecraft 1 is this an hour ago.
All right, so we're going to take this, and this is going to be our SSH command. So we're going to come in here, we're going to, that didn't work. I know how to use
I
copy
know
and
who Ted Buckstone
paste.
is.
Copy. I'm just going to hit that close tab and screw it all up. All right,
Unless someone-
I'm not good at typing when other people are watching, so
Nobody
that's why I have to
is.
copy and
I'm not
paste.
good at typing when.
All right, so let's go over this command real quick. So we have SSH is our secure shell. That's how we're going to access our Amazon instance. We've got TAC-I is going to be for a key pair key. We're going to tell it where the key pair key is. And so this is where I downloaded JaxLUG.pem, which is what we called our key. And then this is EC2 user is going to be who we're logging in as. And then the URL I've already set as a variable up here in the first command that I ran.
I just like
Wait,
put
so
it in
did you just download that JaxLUG.pem or did you
Yes.
That's what I'm
change it?
saying.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
I just
You
downloaded
just
it.
downloaded it and named it
here at the end.
what
Okay.
you knew it was going to use later.
So the first problem is we've never connected to this before.
Whoa.
So our SSH that we're going to establish,
You
it says,
cannot
are you
do
sure that you want to connect to this kind of server?
He doesn't either.
So here is the fingerprint of the
I'm not on the
server,
standard.
and the fingerprint of
Because
the
I think other
server.
than me, you're the only other paid speaker in the room.
Your PIM's not in the right place.
Isn't it? Oh, I didn't.
Oh, it didn't work.
Download.
I,
It says not accessible.
Okay, yeah, it says no such file or directory can't
Ha.
be established.
One thing to note is the EC2-user is the Amazon AMI
Yes.
user. Other instances, if you chose one of the other ones he had pointed out, the user may be different, They are typically listed in the README for the AMI.
Where did I download that?
I think you saved it under
Check it in.
B-sides.
Yeah,
it
I
in
think
B-sides?
yeah, I
Yeah,
think
so-
you did.
The default user for the Ubuntu AMI.
There it is.
Ah, there you are.
Yes!
I drilled down one extra directory.
He's not
Damn.
prepared.
I feel better.
I feel better, thanks. All right, so this is a fingerprint for the server. So it's saying, are you sure that this is the server that you want to? The first time, it's okay to say yes, but if you're connecting to a server that you already have connected to before, and it asks you this question, something about that server has changed.
And we have a feature request in Amazon right now to provide that fingerprint through the CLI or the API so that you can verify it.
You'd also be able to add it to the verified host before you even try to connect.
That would be nice, right? But right now, that is not exposed, and I understand why. It's an OS file, not an AWS file, but
Private key will be-
Oh, I didn't
Oh,
set the
this is-
permissions. Not that. What's the command?
CH1 064
anything like that.
if you're using a key.
There's a guy running his root, right?
No,
Sudo.
you own it. You don't have to run his root.
So chmod 6.
Seven.
No,
Yeah, it actually gives you
But
the,
it won't.
Yeah, it actually gives it
Zero.
to 6
I can't type when people are watching.
You're trusting, you're hitting there.
Don't worry, I can't
just
do
need to let
that.
you use that
I don't trust
tab completion.
Yeah, that type
There you
completion.
go.
If you have the fingerprint saved somewhere and you just want to check,
I just think
The
when
problem is-
you
I was wondering
hit
if
the
there was
tab
a
completion and tab, and it like gives you the wrong
Until you
word.
connect.
No, it
You
says,
know,
no, it says
damn it.
064
that's the
two
first
open.
time.
Yes,
Not use
That's the
that.
first.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because somebody
yeah,
else
yeah.
changed it. I'm
But
Yeah,
actually
you need to
Right.
switch to the
When I
60
built that instance,
or
I'm
060.
surprised it even lets you
AWS
use
Which one is
it.
it?
Say that again,
Do
Travis?
it,
Oh, yeah,
0600.
It's
Right.
because it's
So
telling
put-
you it's 0
put it
0
down.
6.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Zero,
Zero,
zero.
zero.
Because
Yeah.
when you said that.
And now run it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because it
yeah,
was
yeah.
world
How
readable.
did you
Yeah,
do
it didn't want it to be readable to anybody
I
except
thought it was
you.
telling you what it wanted, not what it was
Are we gonna make it in time?
So why is it 4 digits?
What do I have?
I've
20
I've
more
only
minutes?
seen 3.
0 is a
All right.
set good
It's up
bit.
to the
You can
host.
safely ignore that shit.
Kevin, when
It's
you
up
kicking
to
us
the
out?
It's a thing, but
So
You can
0 is
just-
nothing.
Usually we'll.
no, 0 means something if you want to like set permissions
Well, so
on
then
folders
two-
for the stuff for the child parent files that you create later and that. It's 0,
Kevin, when are you
4,
kicking us
7,
out?
something like that are the options for the first one. But 0
Quarter
we'll just
to
ignore it
8.
entirely. And you can do 644.
Five
It's fine.
minutes.
All right, so now we've gotten into our Amazon EC2 server.
Guys,
We're logged in through SSH. What's up? Do
You
we have a
got
question?
the, you got the go ahead that you can be here as long as you need to.
Okay, because this might take a while if I have to start typing things.
We're closed until Monday.
Not that long. Unless we're gonna start playing Minecraft on it.
Oh,
then we can. I can share the file. We can all log in.
Can we share a laptop?
No,
We
you're
might
not
have
allowed to touch
controller,
my
everybody
laptop.
gets a little tiny bit of the screen.
So upset about the
He's not allowed to
four
touch my laptop anymore.
Well, as long as you don't do it, I can still unlock your door. As long as you don't like totally arm it away.
So we're into our EC2, and now
I
we're
can
in
even
a
come back.
headless EC2 instance, and we're logged in through SSH. So now we can send commands just like we have on our own terminal here. So I'm going to the first thing you should do whenever you fire up a new is copy things. The first thing that you should do when you fire up a new instance of Linux is update everything. So update, and then in this instance it's going to be yum. But if you ran a Debian instance or a Ubuntu instance, you would use sudo apt-get update and then sudo apt-get upgrade.
So the instances that you load aren't updated? I would figure like they would have.
Sometimes.
Well, the
You should still do
AMI
it.
is dynamically built, and you are fully up to date on boot. Yay! The Ubuntu ones are releases. They're actually static.
Okay, like the
Like-
6-month ones.
Correct. So
Okay.
you do need to update those. Yeah.
Yep. But I just wanted to
And that's
check.
done because they want it to be pragmatic, like it's the same environment for
Yeah.
AMIs are, yeah,
Yeah,
built
that
from
makes sense.
built from repos every time. So that's why it's
This one would be kickstarted probably.
Kickstarter. Words, man. I don't know. Red has some Oracle.
I mean, IBM.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, they
so
do there.
I'm going to install some packages that I'm going to need. So I'm going to yum install tmux, OpenJDK, and Nano because I have a fear that I'm going to open up Vi in front of a group of people and not be able to close it. So it's saying, hey, are you sure? So it's already got 2 of them, and it's saying,
So my
are you
question is,
sure
what's
that you want to
on your
install this?
buy?
It doesn't have.
How
a
did you
JK.
know my nightmare?
No, I thought your nightmare was a calendar of when's the last time you missed it.
Or line item.
Okay.
Oh wait, have you tracked that? Does
No,
he
it's
still
not
have a
the repo,
masturbating problem?
Okay, well, we'll find it.
That still is
Yeah,
my
so
favorite story.
sudo
You can just do app search.
It was a guy who
yum search.
I got his
Oh,
resume.
yeah, I'm searching.
There was what?
Sorry, I'm thinking
We can
back.
talk after the video is off.
All right.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Sorry, tap, wait. Just do JK.
Oh my.
We can edit that part out.
Yeah.
Java.
We're gonna have to have an audio
dash
issue right there.
1.8.0.
Hey, they didn't know what
You
we were
probably
talking
know
about when I
that
said it.
headless.
You
Oh, actually,
blurted
there's a-
something out pretty loud there.
Hold on, let's try this first. This is the next step. I just wanted it to do that by default. So no Java. Okay.
So that second line, you want to probably install that one.
This one right here.
No, second one from the top.
That reminds me.
This
Kevin,
guy?
I've got stories for you for some of the
Provided that you need 1.8.
because
versus
they're all for
1.7.
security
Yeah, that's
and
its
they're all
own
trying to
line.
get their CCNAs.
What's that?
All right,
Nice.
that's its own line in the code. Sudo yum install.
And one guy's
Java,
going to report, and that's all I'll
hopefully.
say from there.
So Java does, or Minecraft does like a specific kind of Java, so it might take me a minute to make sure that I got the right kind. But we're gonna install Java. So Minecraft runs on Java.
Python. Oh,
We've
sorry.
got our tmux, which I'll explain here in a minute, which was a big deal in this process for me. And then we've got Nano so that I can modify some files. So, then the next one we're gonna check our Java version. So we got Java dash
1.7?
version. What's that?
It looked like you want 1.7.
Oh yeah, do you want 1.7?
Well, go back to your other.
Yeah, my notes.
Yeah.
So
It might run on 1.8.
No, it's
It's real
it's
finicky.
real finicky. So sudo
that's why I no longer run a Minecraft server for my kids. I don't love them enough.
install.
Running out of a Docker container.
Oh, I didn't realize you were a
That's just
hipster.
mean.
What's
I think
that?
one
I didn't realize you
one.
were a hipster.
I know.
Okay, so
Yeah,
we're gonna
did
install
you use
1.7 on
Venti?
here as well.
Good point.
And by the way, yes, Amazon, they
They're quick.
they host their own.
You might.
They
you
host
just
their own
installed. You didn't uninstall the other one.
No.
even for
That's the next
like
step.
they donate
Okay.
a repo.
Oh,
So when you
okay.
download some of that, it's all local and super fast.
All right, so there is an important package that I found out. If you get 3 or 4 versions of Java on your server,
That never happens.
you can use. Nobody likes Oracle that much.
David Litchfield does.
So we're gonna come in here and we are going to. So we're gonna come in here. We're gonna look at update alternatives, and we're going to look at. It does not like that command at all, does it?
Well, I'm just laughing
Java
because
status is auto.
Amazon says a technical error resulted in a data leak of email addresses for an undisclosed number of customers.
Oh joy.
Today's headline.
Oh, yeah.
Eh,
But anyways, so this command right here, this update Java, or this update alternatives, is going to change your default Java version for that EC2, so you can use the right one for Minecraft. Hopefully the whole thing will run here in a minute.
Well, it's saying the
That's-
current best version
yeah.
is 1.8.0. So
Yeah.
You probably need to change it.
how does it feel to present in front of people that's shouting at you?
Yeah, it's fun.
And having 27 conversations around you. We are a
It feels kind of
horrible,
like herding cats.
we are a horrible audience.
It's okay.
Don't run
The
that.
Python group is no better.
1.8.
Without changing
It's the
1.8.
same people.
We're just going to
Yeah.
pull off 1.8 and see, hope that 1.7 works. Uninstall, was it remove?
Oh no, I'm trying somebody to get up from the audience and start
Purge.
taking over my
Remove it.
presentation.
Remove.
I don't remember.
Remove?
Remove.
Purge
Alright, see what
However,
happens.
was an HR director and I was.
What's the worst that could happen?
President.
Purge in Ubuntu
Yeah.
or Debian is remove all config files too.
Yes.
Yeah.
You gotta burn the ground.
Remove. Yeah,
Well,
there you go.
purge is called
It's the
purge
scorched
for
earth
a
policy.
reason.
What's that?
It's a scorched earth policy.
Yeah.
Let's be clear, one of the benefits of Amazon is
We're
if
not
you
playing
get to the
DD.
point where you're like, oh fuck, how did I get here? You destroy the EC2
Slow
instance, you can build
open
a new one.
All right, so now we're going to
Make it
make
from
a folder for our Minecraft server to go inside of. We are going to download our. Did I get it all?
No.
No, it's not going to get it all.
I don't know.
Right?
No, it's not. You're gonna add that dollar sign.
because I'm using
Yep.
server.
Kind of like using Purge or Overkill in AutoCAD, it does the same thing.
Jar. So we're going to use wget to go download the server.jar file and place it inside of /home/ec2 user/Minecraft server/server.jar, hopefully.
78 megabytes a second.
Woo! Hot diggity.
All right, so now.
I would just want to move my office to AWS.
Right.
Right, like, done.
I'll sleep under the desk.
I don't mind.
User.
That's when the
10 gig to my computer.
They
all
keep
right.
it cool.
SSL
So does that
negotiations
mean I
for that
can like
took
put my
half of the
bed
connection
there? I'll
time.
just keep my bed here.
Yeah, no big deal.
I'm here like so much anyway, I might as well just start sleeping here.
There are weeks where you're here more than
All right,
I know.
so now we got our server file.
I threatened them more than once in January, said I could. Mom said I could,
Ah,
because I clean up after myself.
that is good. Not everybody does.
She gave me a whole permission for all the next year. I got
Yeah, the whole point of this building is to host meetings. That's why we got this office.
Ah.
Out of it, well, it's not the only reason. You should have seen some of the.
All right, so now we're going to run java-jar, and we're going to point it at our server file, and it might run.
Explosions.
It's gonna kick me out with an error, because it always, the first time it runs, it's going to create files in this directory, and one of the files it's going to create is the eula.txt. Yeah, somebody knows.
Didn't used to have to do that.
And then the
Really?
eula.txt, you've got to go inside and change true to false.
Yep.
And then you've got to create your server.properties, and your server.properties is going to have all your rules for your Minecraft world.
Was this
So
like a
wait, wait.
Microsoft change?
No, that actually has been there since before Microsoft owned it.
Okay.
That
Okay.
EULA.txt.
There it is.
It was a neat, I
Right
actually
on.
thought it was a good way to do it.
Failed to load your
Right, like instead of putting it integral in, it's just like, hey, just go here, change this one file, that proves you read it, proves you read it.
Good enough.
But why do I have to prove that I read your end
Can you just
user
touch it or
license?
Because you had to agree to
You
it.
can. You can create a whole new one or
They have to
copy
have some
over
sort
it
of
or
proof
something.
that you agree.
I know. My
That's
only
not standing
question
in front of a
is,
bunch of people. I'm just
I have to
going
agree to
Oh,
it, but
okay.
it didn't tell me what it said.
No, it does.
The
It
EULA
requires that you go into
describes
the
that you
EULA
cannot
file
present on
and
this
then
material.
you say, if you read and agree to it, do this.
And you
EULA's there, it's just not
Is it
word
case
wrap and
sensitive?
nano.
I know.
Yeah.
But I'm
Mike,
waiting
if
for
you're using
that
bit,
the end
shouldn't
user leasing agreement or
It's like
whatever
all
starts
caps,
saying
all
like,
that.
you know, you have to write in blood and your firstborn child is
There are a
born
number
to
of them
us.
that do.
You could probably
You know,
do
I'm waiting for
whatever.
those days when they start throwing those things in there.
There-
They actually
there's a
start to
number that
collect on
have
them. That's what I'm waiting for.
What's that?
When they actually start to collect on those EULAs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know, right? That's what I'm saying, like,
all
they're
this,
gonna,
all the secret things that they've hidden over there in there over the
see,
years.
I
Did you
keep
see
swearing.
the article about the predatory lenders out of New York?
Yeah,
That messed up, you pre-sign a confession. And in New York, that stands up, so the lender goes to the police and says, they've already signed the confession that they didn't pay me, go freeze their accounts.
Wow.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's messed up, I was reading it this morning.
that's why people, like, major banks are now trying to leave New York because they're trying to, like, actually do all this stuff. So there's a lot of major banks that are leaving New York, like, right now, and guess where they're trying to go?
Jacksonville.
Jacksonville.
Yeah.
No, really, I was
Is
joking.
it because they were trying to run
Insurance capital.
Minecraft servers on EC2?
Well, actually, do you wanna know the bigger reason? We're like
Yeah,
one of the
that I know
lowest
from one of
tax
my guys'
areas in
one of my
the
guys'
US.
wife.
And like, we give more
We have
business
the same
tax
taxes.
incentives than
His wife
any other.
does.
So we gotta run the Minecraft server jar again to create the other files that go along with Minecraft. I know, I'm getting to the end here soon. And
Sorry.
it's going to create server.properties, it's going to create some log files, it's going to create some band IP lists, it's going to create all the back infrastructure that you're going to be able to change and do things. And then it's going to spool out the first world, and this is the smallest instance that Amazon has, so it also runs a little bit slow.
Second smallest.
Hey, you
Second
said
pulse.
you had a problem typing in front of people. I'm just trying to keep them not looking at you when you're typing.
No, I finished typing and then I have to wait to hit enter.
No, you don't.
Yep, so we're going to do nano again.
Build that world.
Real quick, while that's running, can you go back to your Amazon, your website, the Amazon console?
Mm-hmm.
And then if you look down on this monitoring tab there in the middle,
Mm-hmm.
and full screen it, just for a quick sec. You know, like F11 or whatever. Yeah.
F11.
So if you look here, okay, that's weird. If you look there, there's your CPU utilization and whatnot, there's your CPU percent. So you can look and not be in your instance, SSH and whatnot, and look at that. And if you scroll down a little more, somewhere in there, yep, all the way down to the bottom. There's your CPU credits. So there's your usage, and that number, if you're playing around with it, you'll see that usage number. If it hits 1, then you're using more than what you're earning, because you're in 1 per whatever, and then you start off with 30. So you can kind of see it's already tilting up a little bit, because we're not using more than whatever the 11% is. And there's a little chart that you can find that has all of the instance types. So if you occasionally log in and you didn't check T2 Unlimited, you can run out of those, and then it will throttle you to 11% CPU. And you're like, why is my whatever taking forever? And then you look in there and realize you've been out of CPU credits for 2 weeks.
Yep.
Or hit the unlimited box, and then it'll charge you $100.
All right, so now we've created our world, so we're going to hit Control-C, we're going to shut down the server again, and then we're going to go look at the config files to be able to change things.
Ooh, spawn area.
All right,
If you
so...
hit Control-C once, it gracefully kills the server. If you hit it twice, very angrily kills the server.
Yeah, it sends a kill PID, right?
So,
So we're gonna
Sig9.
go server,
Nice.
properties. And then, so here's all our configuration. And if I want to show you that this actually worked, because I'm a bad person, I have to change online mode to false.
And also your port.
Online mode is false. And then we can change the port that it's run on, so default is 25565. And I put it as 32065. And you can change things like which world you're creating, allow flight, whether or not, how many people are allowed to be in here, all sorts of different rules about your world and how it works. Okay, so here we're gonna save. And then here's the tricky part. So I used to spool up the Minecraft server, and then I'd close my SSH session, and I'd open up Minecraft, and I try to log in, and it wouldn't work. I go, what's going on? I log back into my Minecraft server, and the server wasn't running anymore. It was just like I just logged in again. And so what I found out is that you have to use a TMUX, which is a terminal multiplexer. I'm sure there's probably a dozen other ways to do it. But I use TMUX to create a session that will run without me being SSH'd in. So you run TMUX and you get, it's the terminal multiplexer. It does a lot of things. You can do windows inside your terminal. You can do multiple sessions that you can jump back and forth, kind of like I have the different tabs here, but on a headless environment with no graphic user interface. So now we are in, down here it says we're in session 0, and it is this user at the Minecraft server folder. So what we're going to do is we're going to run our Minecraft server inside of TMUX. And this is some switches that I've got going on here is the recommended configuration. It says allocate 1 gigabyte of memory and use 1 gigabyte of memory, and then run the Minecraft server, and then don't use a graphic user interface. And so basically I'm maxing out this whole server. I'm using all of the memory that's on it, but that's just how much is allocated. What's up?
You have one, how much do you have in your nano, or whatever you're doing?
1 gigabyte.
Okay, you might want to limit that to 512.
Yeah, because you're giving
how I've always
you're
done
giving 1 gig to the stack and 1 to the heap.
And your server only has 1 gig.
So 512 each?
So what it's probably doing is it's
This-
probably ignoring your settings and actually just
And
doing
just running
the
whatever
defaults.
one
It's
is
just like, well, it might also be swapping. if
Yeah,
you're
it's
doing
probably
that.
putting it, yeah, exactly, which one.
Oh, I didn't think about
Yeah,
swap.
Well,
It
would
is an
start-
SSD.
The kernel would start swapping some of its processes. The Java might not, but
Okay, but we'll run it like this. If you ran a bigger one, you can allocate all the memory to it so that when you have more players and you have more things going on, it'll use all that memory and it'll allocate it all. So now we're going to have the world spool back up. It's going to warn me that I'm in online mode as false, which basically means that anybody can log in. They don't verify that you have the real Minecraft account, which is if you have a cracked version of Minecraft, you don't have a real Minecraft account. And then it'll spool up that world. I'm going to come over here and start up Minecraft.
you should run HTOP on that server at some point too.
Okay. It's going to make me use all my TMUX skills here. Hold on, let me get cd cd.minecraft java.jar Minecraft launcher.
Gotta change the background, isn't it?
Yeah,
I like the sad face in the egg.
it's a creeper.
I know.
We have audio.
When we had the hackerspace, we actually, one of the guys made a full-size creeper
Nice.
and put it in the elevator shaft. And it was one of those old style, like you pull down the doors
Yeah.
and you push the button and hold it until you get to the right level. And he put it behind you. So you turn around, there's a freaking creeper there at like 3 o'clock in the morning, like, oh God.
So now that we've run tmux, what we can do is we can come in here and we can hold Control and B, which enters into the commands, and then we can press D for detach, and we've detached our tmux session. So now if we want to go back to the Minecraft server, we can type tmux attach dash session.
It doesn't tab complete on that one.
Oh yeah, so you can't tab complete through SSH. Tag session tag T0, and that will bring us back to our Minecraft server. So that's how you can get in and get out of the Minecraft server. So he wants tmux, or he wants hdot. Does
Probably
hdot
don't
come
have
on
that
here?
installed.
No, so we're gonna run top for now.
Look at your memory usage. You have 85 megs of free memory.
That's enough.
Yeah.
And I haven't even logged in yet.
You have no swap though. No. If you run out of memory, you're not having a good day.
Alright, so now we are going to try to log into our server that should be running out on the Amazon cloud. Did you memorize that IP address?
12.
Okay, good. Move to the right. Beep, beep. This is a picture of me doing the presentation. So we're going to go in here to multiplayer. We're going to go add server. We're going to call it JaxLUG. We're going to call it, it's a horrible picture, 172.31.30.110 or 32065.
You sure?
Now there's an actual picture of you doing
No,
this.
I'm not sure. I'm never sure.
That's private.
Only fools are sure. Is it the private one?
Yeah.
No,
It was a 18 dot
127.
something. Your IP address was 18 dot.
Yeah, you're looking at the.
Go look at the internal. Because that's an RFC 1918 address.
So this one up here is not,
Yeah.
that's the internal address?
Yeah.
No, it's
It's
127 is an internal address.
No, 127 is local host.
That's the local
Right.
address.
172 dot is the class B size network. Remember 10
Oh,
dot,
well, yeah,
They're
here.
assigning an internal
There it
address.
is.
They assign both.
18.206 down there.
So
The,
you have
the
a-
DNS goes to a different IP
Oh,
address.
okay.
which is 18 dot.
206.
36.99
That.
45.
Yeah.
Alright,
Where is it?
I knew it
Right there
started with
at the
18 because I
bottom,
thought it
public
said
DNS,
10.
CC2 dash.
And I was like, that's wrong. And then I realized it was an 18 just small. And I'm
we're gonna,
blind.
so Minecraft did this to me the other day. It's just gone.
Hmm?
It's just gone.
Yeah.
It doesn't like being alt-tabbed out of.
I didn't know they gave you an internal and an external.
Well, you have to, right? Because
Yeah.
remember that you're in a VPC.
Right.
And you can have, as a matter of fact, I mean, we have some really cool setups with, like we have a utility server that cannot be reached directly.
And so you have internal networking between
Yep.
PCs. Okay.
We've got some
Workspace.
cool stuff set up. We really do.
It's supposed
That
to be
sounds
over
like
here.
fun.
And I want to be clear, not because of me. I have really smart people working for me. And they have set up some
For a third
really
time.
cool shit.
Like BJ.
BJ's cool. Yeah. I
And
can't think of
Betty
anybody that-
Cassie.
I can't think of anybody who works for Secure Ideas who is not cool except for that Kevin Johnson guy. I hate him.
He's kind of an asshole.
He is, no, he's not kind of an asshole. He is an asshole. It's in court records.
No.
Alright, so we're gonna add the.
You should be careful, we got it on
add our
camera now.
Existing server.
It's in court records. I'm not making that up.
Well, I was gonna say, we have lots of it on
To read
camera if you've ever heard him
To
speak.
read it.
Pretty much.
It's like one of his opening lines.
Pretty much.
18.206.199.45.
Yep. Yay.
Hey.
Right in.
We have a world.
You have created a world.
Go punch a
You
tree.
created your own dimension.
No, actually, we all have our own dimension because it's JaxLUG.
So, after that, so that's the end of this presentation, but if you actually care about Minecraft, there's some packages that you can install, there's some additional things that you can do. But if you've got a kid or you want to learn how to use EC2, this isn't a half bad way to do it. To learn how to do something practical, especially if you want your kids to learn how to do things like terminal, things like Amazon Web Services servers and things like that. What's that?
VI?
VI, yeah. Start your kids on VI now so that they'll be comfortable if they
Just
ever
buy them the
present.
coffee mug that has the commands.
And
All right.
the kid come in with a.
That's true, though. It
the
could be a
shirt that had
disposable-
upside down Linux command.
A disposable
cheat sheet.
box.
Nice. Have you seen the packet, TCP/IP packet that's on a t-shirt upside down? So you can, yeah.
All right, any questions?
So is there anything that could actually end up costing you money with running that?
Yes. So if I run two of them, if I run two of them for more than half the month, then they'll start charging me.
Bigger window?
Isn't like only the first year free?
Yes. Yeah, you get one year free tier, and then I made them give me another one because I'm a student. So they give me another year.
After the recording
And
is off,
that
I
free
need
year,
to
is
get
that
another
like,
one.
And you just find another.
is that free year for all services? You,
Recording
like if you try to do like EC2 first and then you want to do like Lambda later or whatever?
No, from the time that you start, there's some EC2, there's some Amazon Web Services that are free for like 90 days. There are some that are free for like one time you get this much credits, and once you're out, you're out. And then there's some that's free for a year, and then there's some things that are free forever. And let me show you that website real quick.
No, I'm saying like let's say there's like two different things that are free for years, like both things.
No,
free
they
years
both
for-
start at the same time.
Okay.
In fact,
Even if you don't use the other
yeah,
one.
even if you don't use it. So in fact, even your 90 days for free stuff starts the day that you sign up.
Okay.
So if you want to
Which is
explore,
awful when you find out about it 92 days later.
Right.
right?
I'll ask
You did that apparently.
Well, that's
all
the
I
first
use
charge.
is Glacier right now.
That's the first charge I ran up with Workspaces. Workspaces is free for 90 days. I started one up, I played around with it for 5 minutes, I said cool, I logged out. 92 days later they started charging me, and about 120 days later I found out that they were charging me.
Workspaces is
Under,
awesome.
yeah. You
And
send a little
You gonna log into my Minecraft server?
No, I was gonna shut off that thing.
Sorry, yes,
Damn it,
Workspace is
Minecraft.
awesome.
What is Workspace?
Haven't sold
Workspace is a virtual machine desktop environment.
Okay.
So it's persistent, you can have applications pre-installed on them. Kevin, what other cool things that they can do?
it supports both Windows and Linux.
Mhm.
We're actually building out a workspace for Samurai, so that you'll be able to deploy Samurai out as a desktop environment inside of Amazon. One of the really nice things about that I find with workspaces is we have a number of our staff that we have switched to Chromebooks, and Workspace gives them a desktop environment that's pretty powerful.
I'm just laughing because it's like,
So you get a bunch of different ones, and they break it down on this particular page. They break it down by right here. So 12 months free. I've got a lot of toolbar out there, don't I? They've got a feature, 12 months free, always free, trials, and then you can break it down by category, by type.
so what
Type of-
was this website again?
I have.
This is Amazon Web Services free tier eligible types.
Okay.
So it's just
the
where
other
they
is-
sell their stuff.
Yeah, because I only use Glacier, and then like when I try something else, I'm like I'm way past